Hey, what's going on? Well, I decided to come into the Oval Office here on this Sunday afternoon and just record a vlog for you guys. I know I've been talking about doing more vlogs, and I'm going to get to that, and I thought today would be a perfect day to start that. Now, first of all, I just want to introduce myself to those of you who may not know me. Maybe you're just new on this channel, or you just stumbled on this on YouTube or something like that. But my name is Stacy Knowles. I'm the Entertainment Director and a mobile DJ at SNDJ Entertainment in Pensacola, Florida. We've been in business now for 20 years, so I've got a lot of experiences and a lot of things I can share with you guys, and I'm going to start sharing a lot of that with you as we go along with more vlogs. And, you know, I've done vlogs in the past, but we'll start sharing more information on that. And likewise, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can always drop me an email. My email address is right there on the screen. If you have a video you'd like me to do, or a topic you'd like me to discuss, or a question you'd like me to answer on video, I will be glad to do that. Now, maybe you're a bride and groom, or maybe you're somebody who's looking to hire a DJ or something like that, and you're thinking, okay, maybe I just need to turn this off right now because it sounds like that he's giving tips to mobile DJs. Well, that is true. We are giving tips to mobile DJs and other wedding professionals, but if you're a bride or a groom or somebody who's just curious about what we do, then you're definitely going to get something out of this because it's going to give you a better insight as to what we do when it comes to being a mobile DJ and planning a wedding reception and what all a mobile DJ can do for you, you know, kind of giving you a little bit behind the scenes on what we do. So whether you're a bride or a groom, or maybe you're just somebody that's curious, or maybe you're a mobile DJ who's a veteran, or somebody who just got started in the mobile DJ industry, you're going to get something out of this video, I can promise you that. Alrighty, now for this particular vlog, what I wanted to talk to you about is a wedding timeline. Now, when I say wedding timeline, I'm not talking about, you know, setting up the sequence of events and, you know, what all goes into a wedding, reception, all that other stuff. That's, you know, something for another video at another time. When I say wedding timeline, I'm talking about the entire process from start to finish, from the time the bride makes the first contact with us until we load the last piece of equipment into our vehicle at the end of the night, or even later on once we upload the gig log. The entire process from start to finish that our brides have with us. And you know, I just kind of want to talk about my experiences with that and kind of give you guys some ideas, you know, when it comes to how much time we actually put into a wedding. And I think you'd be pretty surprised if you were able to calculate exactly how much time you spend on a wedding. And a lot of people, you know, it's a misconception. They'll look at a DJ's packages or something like that and say, oh, well, you know, this DJ offers a 4-hour package or a 5-hour package. That means, you know, that they only work from 6 to 10 p.m. or 6 to 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, and that's it. Well, no, that's not it. I mean, we actually do a lot more than that, and you're going to, you know, find that out, and you'll have a better understanding on that by the end of this video once we go over all this. And, you know, we do put in a lot more work than what you see, you know, between those hours of like 6 and 10 or 6 and 11 if you go to a wedding reception to see a mobile DJ. There's a lot more that goes into what you see there. I mean, there's a lot leading up to the wedding and all kinds of stuff to make that wedding happen the way it is. And again, that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over just a basic outline and timeline of the wedding and ceremony reception that I did last week. And I'm also going to include a link to the gig log video that you can see at the end of this video if you'd like to see this particular wedding gig log video from last week. But I'm just going to kind of go over the process and just give you an idea, and we're going to find out how many hours I actually put in to this wedding last week. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that now. Well, first of all, we had our initial contact and our first consultation, and that entire process there took about an hour. And that was from the time that the bride first emailed me, and then we had a consultation and went over everything. So that took roughly about an hour to do that. Then we had to plan the reception and then put the sequence of events together, did some revisions, and then I had to connect with the other vendors. And that whole process took about 3 hours. Now, what do I mean by all that? Well, planning the reception, that's when the bride sends me back the forms that I had her fill out, you know, such as the ceremony, the reception forms, and I typed everything up on a sequence of events based on what she, you know, had put in those forms. And then I sent it back to her so that she can look it over, make any changes that she needed. She let me know of any revisions she wanted to have. And then once she gave me her final approval that that planner was how she wanted it, then I sent it out to her other vendors and I reached out to them and explained to them what we're going to be doing. So again, that entire process there took about 3 hours to do once that was all said and done. Then, of course, I had to get the music together. Had to go through and make sure that I had all her music and put it all in playlists and all that kind of stuff. And I had to put it all in 3 different computers. And yes, I do have 3 computers. If you look at my gig logs, you'll see 2 computers out. I have one as a main computer, and then one as a backup that is always out on the table and hooked up, ready to go at all times. But then I've also got a 3rd computer that I keep in my van at all times, just in case I need it. And I make sure that I have all the music that the bride wants on all 3 of those computers. So I mean, I always make sure, that I'm over prepared when it comes to things like that. So putting all that into those 3 computers and verifying the music and all that, that took probably about another 2 hours to do that. Then we had to have our final consultation. Well, that took about an hour to go over everything and talk about that. I did that over the phone. Then on the day before the wedding, on Friday, I did my 2nd music checks and I verified the reception outline. I then printed off the outline for the other vendors. That all took about an hour to do that. And basically what I do at that point is I went over the music and I went over the all the wedding party introductions and practiced that and all that. In addition while I was doing that. But I did that to all 3 computers. I made sure that I went over the planner, I double checked, I made sure every song was in each one of those computers again for my 2nd time on Friday. Then that evening I loaded my DJ equipment into the vehicle, and that took about 30 minutes. And that's because I take pretty much all my DJ equipment when it comes to doing a wedding, because even though I'm not going to use all of it, I want to make sure that I've got everything just in case I misplace something in another bin or something like that. I want to make sure that I've got it there. So I take all my equipment with me just to make sure that we're pretty much covered on that. So that took about 30 minutes on Friday night. Now, on wedding day, Saturday morning, 8 a.m., I woke up and got my coffee. I had breakfast. I came in here to the Oval Office to do the final checks again. And once again, just like I did on Friday, I went through all 3 computers and went through the planner, made sure all the music was there, and I went ahead and went over the names again just to make sure I got all the wedding party introductions ready to go and all that stuff. So again, I did that with all 3 of those computers on the Saturday morning right here in the Oval Office. That process took about 2 hours. At around 10 a.m. I took a shower. I loaded my snack bag because, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but I'm actually a type 2 diabetic, so I've got to make sure I've got snacks behind the DJ table at all times just in case my blood sugar goes low. So that's another important thing that I make sure that I do. And at that point I double checked to make sure I had all the equipment in the van, and that process took about an hour and a half. I checked the room that I keep my DJ equipment in my house to make sure I didn't forget anything, and I double checked the van to make sure everything was there. So again, that whole process took about an hour and a half. At 11:30 in the morning, I left for the Garden Center. That's where the reception was going to be held. And this particular bride, we had the ceremony and the reception at 2 separate venues. So I went to the Garden Center, left at 11:30, got there at noon, and I unloaded, set up, and got changed into my outfit that I was going to be wearing for the ceremony and the reception. That whole process from start to finish took about 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was roughly what it was. Okay, 2:20 p.m. I departed for Old Christ Church in downtown Pensacola after I'd already gotten dressed and everything. And I stopped off at McDonald's on the way there and got some lunch. So I ate lunch. Once I got to Old Christ Church, I sat in my van and ate lunch there. I got there at about 2:40, but we couldn't get into the building until 3 o'clock. So, I sat there and I ate my lunch there in the van while I was waiting for them to open the doors. All right, 3 o'clock, they opened the doors, and I went in and set up my Fender Passport for the ceremony and began the pre-ceremony music for everybody coming in. And so that was what I did at that point. At 4 p.m., the ceremony was held, and it was over pretty quickly. It was ended by about 4:20. And at that point, my sister and my 2 nephews were there, and so what they did was, so that I can get back up to the reception, is they went ahead and broke down my Fender Passport and packed everything up for me so that I can go on and get out of there. So I was out of there right at 4:20 when that ceremony ended, and then my sister went ahead and packed everything up, and then they brought the Fender Passport to me later. So anyway, I left the church at 4:20. I got back to the Garden Center about 4:45. I walked in, powered everything up, and for the reception, and we were good to go. 9:30 p.m. the reception ended, and I began the breakdown and loadout time. And then I left the Garden Center at about 10:30. So it took about an hour to break everything down and pack everything up. I headed for home. I got home about 11 p.m. that night. And once I got home, I got something to eat. I relaxed and I winded down a little bit. That's what I always do after a gig. I like to, kind of take some time to wind down a little bit, maybe watch a little TV, put on a movie or something like that. And I usually don't go to bed till like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning after a gig because, it is a pretty exciting time. But it doesn't end there. Just because the wedding day's over with, that doesn't end there. Okay, Sunday morning, 10 a.m., after having breakfast and coffee, I unloaded the DJ equipment from my van. That took about an hour to load everything out and put it back in the room. Then I went ahead and rested for a little bit, just kind of relaxed a little bit. And at 2 p.m., I took a shower, I freshened up, and then I came in here to the Oval Office to record the final wrap for that wedding gig log video. And that took about an hour to do all that. And then about 3 p.m. I edited the gig log and uploaded it. And that took about 2 hours. So it was uploaded to YouTube by Sunday evening. And again, that process took about 2 hours. So what does all that mean, and how much time did I actually spend on that one wedding? Well, when I totaled that up, that was 26 and a half hours, if you can believe that. 26 and a half hours on one wedding was what I spent last week on that particular wedding from start to finish. And sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little bit less. You know, it just really depends on the wedding. I mean, sometimes I may have to do a site visit that's like an hour away. That's going to add time to it. So it's not unheard of that it may, you know, I may not spend 30 hours on a wedding. You know, it just really depends. But that just goes to show you that, you know, we spend a lot more on a wedding than, you know, those 4 or 5 hours that people see us, you know, at the actual reception. So that just kind of gives you an idea on what all, you know, goes into the wedding planning process and how much time we actually put into it. So that's another good reason why I don't charge by the hour. You know, the way my packages are set up is that the brides get to keep me until midnight on the day of their wedding. So, you know, they get to have me for as many hours as they want on their wedding day. And as you can tell, I mean, this particular wedding, even though I wasn't at the venue that as long as, you know, as you would think, I mean, I still spent 15 hours, you know, a work day on wedding day. So the 15, you know, hours was spent there on that wedding on Saturday. So Saturday was easily a 15-hour work day just in on itself. So that was a big chunk of those 26 and a half hours too, just on wedding day. So again, that just kind of gives you an idea on what all we do when it comes to you know, planning a wedding. So I hope that gives you some insight on everything that goes on. And again, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me an email. You know, my email address is right there on the screen. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. I'll answer in a future video if you'd like me to do that. Or if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, I'll be glad to do that as well. I've got some interesting stories I'm going to start sharing with you guys too over my 20 years of being a mobile DJ that I think you guys will enjoy. I've told these to other DJs and they're like, you know what, you need to do some videos on these. So I think you guys will like that as well. And as always, if you like what you see on my channel, be sure and like and subscribe, and be sure and share my videos and get those out to other DJs and other people who might be interested in the mobile DJ profession. And that's the best way that you can help us out and help support this channel. Alrighty, that's where we're going to leave this. We got more vlogs to come, so until next time, practice and enjoy.